Good morning, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. Today, we're going to be talking about how we can turn Goliaths into Davids and how small businesses can adapt big business strategies for their branding. Thank you for everyone that's joined me this time today. So I'll just get straight into it. Feel free to pop any comments as we go through, and I'll try and answer any questions. So a few things we're going to go through on the session today. So we're going to look at the kind of introduction, what the core elements are of successful branding, how we can adapt big brand strategies for small businesses and kind of implement them in your business. Look at some case studies of how small businesses have got some really strong brand strategies. And then finally, some key strategies for small businesses to help with your business success. So a bit of an introduction. So small businesses, obviously at the moment, we're all aware, are facing really unique challenges. One of the things we're coming across time and time again with clients is limited budgets, limited resources, and huge market competition. So, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of competition in the marketplace, a lot of things to kind of factor in that maybe weren't there a few years ago. Obviously, effective branding is crucial for small businesses to differentiate themselves during these times. You really want to focus on building credibility and then also attracting those customers. So through that credibility, that the customers will come. And then by utilizing branding strategies, small businesses can level playing field and compete with the larger companies. And that's what we want to do. We want to kind of get those businesses competing on that larger scale and having a piece of that pie. So what are the core elements of successful branding for small businesses? So obviously the first thing we'd speak about and always look at when speaking to clients is brand identity. So you really want to look at clearly defining your brand's mission, the values, and the personality. If anyone is struggling with this, we actually have a free download on our website, our brand Bible, that takes you through it step by step. Or if you drop me a message in the comment, I'd be more than happy to share that with you on email. And then you also need to look at developing a unique brand voice and visual identity that resonate with your target audience. If anyone was on the one last month with us that we did, I know I spoke lots about target audience and probably bored everyone to death, but for me, this is key. You really need to know who your audience is. Without knowing who your audience is, you don't know how to speak to them. So really define that audience, develop a unique brand voice, and then turn that into a really compelling brand identity that's going to connect with them. As we were saying, understand target audience, something I go on and on about, but it's really key. So there's a few ways you can go around understanding the audience and how to kind of build up those profiles. So a few things you can do is look at conducting market research to identify your ideal customers' needs, preferences, and pain points. Pain points is a really big one, and we're seeing it more and more. People tend to talk very much about what they do, what their product offers, their service or business offers. And we really want to start flipping that narrative and conversation. So it should be more about thinking about the audience, what are their issues, and how does your product or service solve those issues? How are you going to make their lives easier? What do you bring to the table? And then you want to look at tailoring your branding strategies to address those needs, desires, and motivations. And that's really important. You really want to be speaking to them. Another element of successful branding is your brand messaging. So we want to really craft a compelling brand message that delivers your unique proposition clearly. Now, clearly is the key word there. It's not something that we want to bring together, in paragraphs and paragraphs of copy. It should be something that you could translate to someone in, 30 to 60 seconds. A lot of people refer to it as kind of the elevator pitch. So just, how do you convey that message? And then we want to consistently convey that message across all channels. And consistency is another word that I will bang on and on about. So being consistent is really key to building a really strong brand across all touch points. And then another core element of successful branding is delivering a really successful brand experience. So it's, looking at exceptional customer experiences that align with your brand promise. So you want to focus on building positive emotional connections with your customers. When people talk about your brand or your business, you want everyone's kind of have that positive thoughts and feelings about it. You want that positive connotation of, they deliver a great service, or they have an amazing product, or the staff are amazing. We really want those positive connotations. So how can we adapt these strategies for small businesses? So we want to look at the storytelling side of it. So developing a compelling brand narrative that resonates with the audience and highlighting the stories. We want to look at the digital presence. I'll go through these. And then we want to look at collaboration and partnerships. There's also niche marketing. I'm going to talk about these in depth a little bit later, so we'll just go through them quickly. So one of the areas we want to look at is, a great thing to always look at is how other people do it well. And people tend to really pick out, really big brands like the Apples and, Uber and all of them. But one of the ones that we think do it really well, and they were, a small business, and they've adapted big brand thinking and big brand strategies into their branding, is the Dollar Shave Club. So they completely disrupted the industry in 2012. It actually was through a YouTube ad. It was really funny, just so really humor based. They really understood who their audience was and who their target audience were and what they wanted to see. It had really clear communication, and it attracted thousands and thousands of viewers, leading to conversions. What they also did was looking at the kind of model. So they looked at the price, convenience issues, and by doing that, they gained 12,000 subscribers overnight. So the key there was really understanding their audience, understanding the audience's pain points, what the audiences need. They were concerned on price. They were concerned on convenience. They addressed all of that to bring that together to develop a new offering that disrupted the market. They then looked at continuing their product line and launched a magazine. They actually got acquired for $1 billion, which, I'm sure that's everyone's dream. Build a big brand and get acquired for $1 million. I think I'd love that. And then they embraced a really omni-channel retail approach. Despite obviously changes throughout and the being purchased, the impact remains really significant. So they really have clever marketing. They had a subscription model, which is really, really popular nowadays, and they obviously adapted to the market. But the key thing was that they really understood their market, understood what the market needed. Another great example is Warby Parker. So again, they revolutionized the eyewear industry. So these are two industries: shaving products, glasses. That everyone's thinking, can't really do anything new in it. There's nothing new in this space. But it was, again, by bringing it back to the audience. So really delving into what the audience want, what the audience need, and what their pain points are. So they looked at offering affordable glasses through an online platform, and also incorporating a socially conscious mission. So that's really important, again. So by understanding what the audience wants and understanding what's going to resonate with them. But then again, it was all about convenience. So they had a thing like the home try it on program, so you could try on the eyewear at home, and they could try them on free before purchase. So again, probably thinking, right, the audience hasn't got the time to go to an optician's, try on lots, keep on going back and forward. They're busy people, time poor. They obviously got early investment, and they featured in sort of likes of Vogue and GQ, which was really great for them, and accumulated and getting a wait list for the customer. But again, it comes back to knowing that audience. So really, what are their pain points? What did they need from this brand so that they were going to buy into it? They also developed a buy a pair, give a pair program, which was hugely successful. So they donate glasses to those in need. And they had a really strong online presence and commitment to customer experience. So it's not just a case of them going, right, we're just going to do one thing. It's kind of this multi-channel and cross-purpose approach that they bring together to really connect with their audience. And the key to it is building that kind of real loyalty and strong brand loyalty that the audience are only going to kind of buy into you, will only come to you for those products or services. So there's some key strategies that obviously we can look at, and kind of things that are really important, and quick, easy wins that you can look at implementing in your own business and your own brand to hopefully start to deliver some of these results. The first thing we always is consistency. So you want to maintain a really consistent brand across all touch points. And I'm actually just going to go back to that previous couple of slides with the examples on. You see their consistency across the way they are presenting themselves, very same look and feel across the packaging, in-store experience, through to the adverts and the online, and the same with the Dollar Shave Club. So it's got the same tone of voice. It's got a very similar look and feel. So it's maintaining that consistency throughout is so important, especially across kind of multi-channel approaches. Now, we just want to make sure that if someone is going on your website, or if someone is getting a product delivered to them, every single touch point looks the same. It really builds the recognition and reinforces your brand values as well. And that's when you can start to bring the brand story into it as well. So if you are doing something that's socially responsible, like the eyewear, you can start to tell those stories and bring that to life. Also, personalization. So you want to tailor your brand experience to make your customers feel valued and understood. It's really important to feel like that you connect with the audience. They want to feel like they belong, and it's like, this is definitely for me. This brand is for me. I completely buy into it, and live and breathe it. So a really good way of doing that is leveraging customer data. You can do personalized marketing techniques as well to create targeted and relevant communications. You can do things like A/B testing as well on your digital marketing, and start to really see what resonates with different audiences, so you can segment them out and make sure you're getting that really personalized message across to them. Another really key strategy is building relationships. So it's building those genuine connections with your customers. Again, that can be through personalized interactions. It can be through the way that you communicate on social media, the engagement on social media. So if you are putting something out there, people tend to think, oh, we've done it, it's out there. But then what's happening when people comment or engage with it? Are you then got a follow-up program? Are people have you got a team of staff there? Or are you there? Or do people know what they need to do? And also loyalty programs as well. If people are already buying into the brand, how can we keep them loyal? What can we do to, maintain and foster that relationship? You want to focus on obviously building the long-term relationships rather than those one-off transactions. So it's so important to build that core customer base that are going to then become brand ambassadors and brand advocates for your business. And that doesn't have to always be product businesses. It can be service businesses. You've got a service. You want that people to be shouting from the rooftops how great a product service that you've delivered for them. So really foster those relationships and building those really deep connections with your clients and customers. Another really important thing as well that we're seeing a lot is this monitoring and adaptation. So as times are changing, things are changing at such a fast pace nowadays. It used to be, when I first started many years ago, you could, do a nice brochure, a nice annual report, and that was kind of it. Whereas today we can't connect with our customers in the same way. There's so many different channels, so many different platforms that we need to be on. So we really need to be continuously monitoring market trends. Getting customer feedback is key as well. How many times do you actually reach out to your clients or your customers? Ask them, what do you think is going well? Is there anything that's not going well? Is there anything that we can improve on? These conversations can sometimes feel quite uncomfortable, but it's really important to get that customer feedback. I think when sometimes you're so in your business and in your brand, you can get so entrenched in it, and you think that people perceive you in a way, or you think people have a feeling about it in a certain way, but that might not be what's actually going on out there. So you need to really make sure that you're getting that feedback, and then just also keeping aware of what your competitors are doing as well. So making sure you're aware of what's going on in the actual marketplace that you sit. And then it's just all about being as agile as you can to adapt your strategies to stay relevant and competitive. in this dynamic landscape that we're in. So don't just do the research or don't just get the feedback, then look at ways that you can implement it. So we'd always suggest, maybe a monthly review where you can sit down with your team, or if you've got an agency that you work with, sit down with them and say, this is what's worked well, this is what's not working well, how can we improve, or how can we take something that's worked really well and keep the ball rolling on that. So it's just looking at constantly reflecting and monitoring each time. So obviously small businesses can benefit from adopting big brand strategies to help them grow and compete more effectively in the marketplace. So we've got a few ways that you can look at leveraging some of the big brand strategies for your own smaller businesses. So like we said, brand positioning is always key. You want to clearly define your unique proposition and target market. What sets you apart from your competitors, just like the big brands do. So, we speak to a lot of smaller clients and they're like, oh, we don't have a brand strategy. We're not a big business. We're not a big brand. It's not for us. And the way we always see that kind of brand positioning and strategy piece is it's the foundation of your business. That should be the core that runs through everything. So even if you maybe don't have the budgets to invest in getting an agency to do it for you, just look at having to do it yourself. Like I say, more than happy to share a brand Bible with you. It gives you the step-by-step guide on how to do it and implement it yourself in your own business. But once you've got that yourself and you and your team and the staff are all aware, it will help you then form a really solid foundation for your brand. And this is exactly what the big brands do. And it will help you then attract that specific audience and start to build up that brand loyalty. Brand consistency, as we've spoken about, so it's looking at branding across all your touch points, including websites, social media, marketing materials, and customer interactions. You really want to foster the recognition and trust in your brand. That is really, really key. Content marketing is obviously so important nowadays. We really want to look at developing a content marketing strategy to provide value to your target audience. And I think value is the key word there. It isn't about selling your stuff, your product or service. It's how can you add value and give value to your audience? What can you potentially give them as something, I'm not saying give freebies, but can you educate them about something? Can you give them helpful tips or advice that's going to help them in their everyday life? That again positions you in a way that you're that kind of trusted authority figure in that space. So it's all about creating high quality, informative content that showcases your expertise in the very best way and positions you as that authority in your industry. And that's really key. People might not need your products or services now, but if you're positioning yourself as that authority figure, hopefully then, when, I don't know, they need a solicitor and you've got a law firm, there's those people that, that we know they know this stuff. We resonate with the content they put out. We'll get in touch with them. Social media engagement. So we touched on this before. So it's really important to engage with your audience on social media. Don't just post about there. Respond to comments and messages promptly. If you go on any big brands, Instagram, Facebook, TikToks, things like that, you'll see obviously they have bigger teams and unlimited budgets and resources. So it's a little bit easier for them. But there's learnings we can take from that. So is it that, if you are just the one person in the business that does it, can you set aside half an hour every day just to check it and make sure that you're building that, interaction with customers, and see it as a tool to build a relationship with your customers rather than it's just somewhere where we post stuff and we put stuff out there. Try and use it more as an engagement tool to build up those relationships. We touched on obviously customer experience, so we want to really prioritize excellent customer service. So this kind of falls back in on the customer engagement that we're talking about. This is something that we see time and time again that small businesses really do excel in. They build that customer loyal base. They do have those personalized interactions. So as you start to grow and develop, just making sure that stays true. You do have those little kind of added touches and those personalizations there. And then looking at partnership and collaboration. So, can you form partnerships with other businesses? Again, think like a big brand. Big brands do lots of collaborations all the time that complement their offerings. They get PR out of it. It's another story and another angle that they can talk about. So is there any way that you can form a partnership or a collaboration with someone that complements the offerings, product or services that you have? Can you have a joint promotion? And it also then helps you tap into each other customer bases. So it could be that if you're a service business, you might offer one part of the puzzle, but you may not offer another part. So can you join together? And then you've got two, you can tap into each other's audiences and have that partnership or strong collaboration. That's a key thing that we see a lot of big brands doing that work really well when implemented successfully with smaller businesses. Email marketing is another key. Again, it kind of gets forgotten and people feel like, is email marketing dead? I don't think so. Again, if you think of big brands, they're all still sending it out, and sending it out there. So it's all about building and nurturing a subscriber list. You really need to have a core list of those loyal customers that you can either keep re-engaging with, maybe people that have dropped off, maybe people that have lapsed. How can you re-engage with them? And again, as we spoke about before, it's all about sending those personalized and targeted emails. It can be informing them about products, promotions, updates. It can just be a check-in to say hi, but just having that consistent, keeping you and your business and brand at the forefront of your potential clients or customers' minds. Obviously, I would say this, having a design agency, but where you can, obviously try and invest in design and the packaging for your products and services. You really want to have a really eye-catching brand, packaging and marketing materials. This is always going to leave a really long-lasting impression on your customers. And again, if you think of lots of big brands, they really do invest on that side of things. So they do invest heavily on having a really slick looking brand that's consistent across all touch point. And it's not just a case of having a logo that they just put on every single piece of material that they have, having a really strong kit of parts, having great photography, great color palettes, fonts. Do you have graphic devices, elements? Today, if you are on social media or you're out and about, just start looking at bigger brands and see how their brands work. You'll see that it doesn't tend to be just a logo put on everything. They'll do have that suite of parts. So if you can invest in it, it's really important to get a really solid set of brand guidelines that have got all these elements in to help you then build that consistent brand, and that is a really key thing that we see obviously lots of big brands doing. We do it for a lot of big brands, and then we also implement that for smaller businesses and brands also. Another really important thing is using data-driven decision making. That's a bit of a tongue twister. So you want to look at data analytics to understand your customer behavior, preferences, and trends. So like we said before about the target audience, that's really important and defining that. But you don't want to go down making too many presumptions. So where you can get that data, pull the data off, the stats from your website, from your social media posts, from the engagement you get in, looking at Google Analytics and all of that information to start to build up a picture. And as we were saying before, when you are doing that kind of monitoring and reviewing stage, you can keep referring back to that as well. So it's going to help you make really informed decisions that will then help with the marketing and help with better outcomes. Another thing we see a lot with big brands is obviously innovative promotions. So it's looking at creating unique and engaging promotional campaigns, again, that capture your audience's attention. How can you do that? How can you use that to then drive sales? Again, we see that a lot with big brands. That's again where the collaboration and the partnerships come in. You can piggyback on that to create a really compelling promotion for your products or service as well. So again, just start to keep that in the back of your mind when you're looking at other big brands of how they do it. And then customer feedback and surveys. So I know we touched on it earlier, but regularly collect that feedback. So, if you are a service industry, maybe when you've completed a project for a client, ask for that Google review, ask for, send them a little questionnaire to get that feedback, to get kind of direct interaction feedback, and then use that to improve the products and services and customer experience. Don't do that and then not use it. That's really important. And sometimes it might be things that you don't want to hear, but that stuff is what you do need to hear, even if it's hard to take it. So use that feedback and use that to implement and build. Again, that's what the big brands all do, constantly, refine and finesse, and that's how you kind of build that really strong, cohesive brand that will put you on that same playing field with the bigger brands. Another really important one is investing in your employee training. So you really need to make sure your brand understands your brand values, and is also equipped to deliver a consistent brand experience. So, we say lots of times we start working with a client and we're like, have you got brand guidelines? I'm like, yeah, it's just filed on a server. No one ever looks at it. No one is even aware what it says. And it should be that everyone in the team can almost quote them by heart. It should be their mantra. And you should get them really engaged and to be happy and feel empowered by it. And this is going to help for them to positively contribute to the overall brand image. Again, this is what you see in big brands. They'll have offices with the values and the ethos on the wall. They've got branded merch that they give the team. So what little things can you take from that? Is it just something simple as, branded coffee cups for the team if they're all working from home so they feel part of it? Is it something as simple as having desktop screensavers with the company brand values on, so they're constantly seeing them and living and breathing them? But again, that is so key to building that cohesive team that then can deliver your message consistently. So there's just a slide of just an overview there. If anyone wants to take a screenshot, feel free to do so. But that's kind of our key areas where we feel that big brands do it really, really well, and that you can take to implement your own brand, your own business, and just hopefully implement some of those quick wins to be able to start leveraging, what they do, how they do it, and how we can make that work for your business. So like it says there, small businesses can turn into Goliaths in today's by adopting effective branding strategies. A branding strategy is key, and it is the foundation of your business. So you really want to focus on the core branding elements, adapt big brand strategies, and implement key strategies for success. And small businesses can compete and thrive in this marketplace. You really want to look at embracing the power of branding and leverage it to achieve remarkable growth and success. So again, these things are not just stuff that you look at, but then once you've done them, you need to keep on implementing them and leveraging them. Again, like we said, that's what we see the big brands doing all the time, kind of leveraging off that information and being consistent throughout. So I'm just going to hand over, see if there's any questions in the chat, if anyone wants to drop me any questions. Also, I'm hoping there'll be a recording of this, so I'll be able to share this out. So if anyone wants me to send this over, feel free to put your email in the chat as well, and we can go from there. I'll just keep my eyes now, see if any coming through. I don't think, it doesn't like any questions. If anyone does have any questions afterwards, there's my email. You're more than welcome to drop me an email or send me a message via LinkedIn. Always happy to chat to people, offer our advice. You might be thinking, that sounds great, but I'm not quite sure how that works for my business. I'm always happy to offer advice or tips and tricks on how you can use that. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for your time today. I hope you found it valuable. Like I say, feel free to reach out to me. Always happy to have a chat or a coffee over Zoom. And keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be doing another one in our webinar series next month in October. So keep your eyes out for that coming through, and we'll be sending invites out for that. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day.